first item on the agenda is executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551071. So we'll convene into executive session at 6:47.
Does the board wish to do it here or ask people to?
I guess it's Blair. Oh, it's the same time, 7:53.
Ready for the board's, any action, or we're on number 4 here? Okay. Or actually number 3, if there's any action the board wants to take from closed session.
Is there any motion to be taken from the closed session? No. All right.
Not as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Now we're at 4.
Item number 4 is the district's delinquent tax collection contract with Linebarger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson. Mr. Coward.
Thank you. Ms. Blair, are you wanting to make any presentation to the board regarding the current contract we have? We do have a copy of it in the board packet. Basically, it says that we adopted this in early 2007. It's the last time the board takes action on it, and that it automatic renews every year unless the board chooses not to allow it to renew.
Correct. Yes, I'd like to make a presentation. There's a couple of things I wanted to point out. And one, I wanted to thank them. They left the people figures.
Yes.
They actually connected a lot of dots from behind the scenes. I hope you did all think because they did for all of us out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you have different parties everywhere, sometimes you don't know because confidentiality. And so, and Ms. Betty kind of got everybody together out there and connected a lot of dots. And I hope that they did for you too. So, just real quickly, while I was out here, as always, I just wanted to kind of give you an update on the collections. As you know, I'm very short, brief, to the point with this because I know the school district just wants to know what money came in. Oh, sorry about this. And it's the same format I pretty much have given in the past. I went ahead and compared 2011 and tax year 2012. In November 2012, you will see the negative balance. That is because of the reallocation of the funds that we just discussed. And even with the negative balance going into the configuration of 2012, the collections were still up in 2012 to 2011. Your base collections and your P&I total. So these were all audited against the tax office collection reports that are given. So that's something I'm very proud of. Some of this property is also inside of San Vicente County. Barry Colbert, I've introduced him every time. I want to give him kudos always. He's out here talking to his taxpayers, talking on the phone, getting his people on the payment agreements and making his payments. And these figures could not be where they are at with legal ISD without Barry Colbert. He's a great legal assistant. He's a wonderful asset. And I'm very proud of him. I think legal ISD should also be. But that's a figure down there at the bottom. We're very proud of the $1.4 million and almost a $600 collection. The mailings, I just gave you a quick breakdown of the letters and the member statements we send on behalf of the district. Again, this is a service that we provide in our collection program. This is nothing that is billed to the district or anything else. This is something that's a pure collection program on behalf that we do on behalf of our clients. 2011, we sent 18,000 statements. 2012, we sent almost 17,000 statements. And in 2013, I laid out the number of statements we mailed in January and our future mailings. Our future mailings, these are not set in stone. I will tell you that right now, especially when we get your 2012 in July, we might change the program up a little bit. We look again at what's new, how many people are first-time delinquent taxpayers, how many repeats. Is there another way that will work better? Where can we target this? So this is our, our business plan that we go by, but we do change it throughout the year. Tax sales and resales. You are very familiar now with resales, with all the minimums I bring back to the board. Tax sales, since January 2011, we have posted over 40 properties and an amount of $247,000. Some of those properties posted got into payment agreements. Some of the properties were sold. and unfortunately, some of the properties were struck on. So that's going to be a combination of everything. Since 2011 in January, the firm has brought 21 offers to the board to consider for resales. And I'll just be quite honest, sometimes on resale, the school district does collect some money, sometimes the school district does not. But all costs have to be paid. So at least it gets back on the current tax roll. Phone collections, this is something I added a little bit more detail this time. We collected the stats from January 2012. And this is a live contact of them calling us or us calling the taxpayers. Over 7,000 live contacts we made on behalf of Cleveland ISD to taxpayers. Some of those might be numerous times, of course, yes. But that is what Barry and a large staff in our phone bank, that's what they do every day. When we send out these letters, they have a telephone number to call. We try to walk them through a payment agreement, explain what's going on. I think the phone collection's been working very well with this account. And I think the numbers prove it for 2012. And if there's a payment agreement, the payment agreement's for all entities. Because they're delinquent, it goes through Richard Brown, the tax office. Mr. Brown approves every payment agreement. And since he is the TAC for any of the entities he collects for, he enters the payment agreement for all. So it doesn't matter who brings them to the table, myself or any of the other firms. It's for all entities. Because everybody needs to be paid off monthly until the end of the payment agreement. So anyway, we've made over 7,000 live contacts in this area. Litigation, I just kind of broke it down real quick as plaintiff and intervener. 106 suits, in excess of $1.2 million. Payment agreements, this is something Mr. Culbert's been going through with the tax office because Mr. Brown approves every payment agreement. We've been able to clean up the tax roll a little bit. So has every entity. Because some of these were still coded payment agreement from previous administration, 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So that's been one of the projects. But since January 2011, over 332 payment agreements have been executed on behalf of Cleveland ISD. And like I said, Mr. Brown, he is very particular about the terms. That's really good with taxpayers. They don't just let them go on and on and on. He's very specific about the duration, and therefore we can stick to that. That's very helpful on our end on the enforcement. If they're going to stick to it, then we can stick to it. So I'm very pleased to report that. And bankruptcies, fortunately, they still occur. And there's a total of claims 12 that we filed, and we do everything in the bankruptcy court on behalf of the district. Last but not least, there is one resale bid on page 4. And I just included this for informational purposes only, because usually it comes to y'all for less than the amount, and everybody has to vote. This is actually one that's above and beyond the full amount that's due in owing. And if you notice, this property's been struck off since April 1991. All right, and this is the first inquiry we've had about this. Therefore, we did attach maps, because I do want to let the board know on this map, it's the one blue square on the colored map, kind of in the middle. The appraisal district just changed their mapping, so this is like the whole new mapping system of the appraisal district. The blue square is a lot that we're discussing. And if you notice, just right above it is a church. Okay? Somebody on behalf of the church has submitted a bid, but not in the church's name. All right, at this time. But just let me know, I think that's what has been being looked at for this property. Therefore, eventually sometime it might become exempt. But I will tell you right now, it's been struck off since 1991. Therefore, all the taxes that are of record are wiped out because of the 20-year rule. Every year, a year drops off. So $10,000 will be applied to all entities, prorated, in the tax percentage amount, and it will go to your general fund. Therefore, there's no official action or vote that needs to be taken on the resale. I just thought that's something in the community, because it's right here in your business center, very close, that you'd be aware of it. Any questions? And then on the contract, it is an older contract that we have, and I am prepared, and I brought some different things for the board to consider on the contract. The old contract, like you said, had an auto renewal yearly, 60-day cure clause, that if you terminate, we have 60 days to cure, and an arbitration clause. That is no longer what we're offering, what we want to negotiate with the school district at all. What we are offering, we want to do with the school district is a one-year contract, and it's a 30-day termination. There's no 60-day cure clause. There's no specific reason stated for termination. It is an open 30-day termination no matter what. If you don't like something, it can be done in termination in the original year. And what I did attach is a renewal, but not a yearly. It's a month to month. And the only reason why I did that is if something happens on that last month of a contract, some disaster or something happens and the board cannot meet, then you are without attorney for the next board meeting. But it's still a 30-day termination, no matter what. Even in the month-to-month renewal, it's a 30-day termination. During the original year, it's a 30-day termination. But that way you won't something happen and be without an attorney for 2 or 3 weeks, if need be. But if a termination is wanted by the board, one sentence on a piece of paper by the superintendent or board president that no longer require your services for a 30-day notice. That's all that's required. So that is what I have to offer to the school board. So even though it's your contract, legally and technically, it's always a 30-day contract from the first day of initiation.
Do you have copies of that?
I do. I sure do. And what I do, I have Mr. Chip Sutton with me. He's also a partner that's been with me for many, many years. I worked with him for 10 years. And also, I forgot to tell you, there's no arbitration clause in this also. So it's a 30-day termination, automatic, monthly, 30 days.
Mayor, so what's the reason for y'all changing?
On what? On this?
Yeah, the changing of.
Well, I will tell you, honestly, over time, with more competitors in the field, a lot of clients stressed over the years, they don't like the 60-day cure. They want to know, if we don't want you, we want you gone. So competitors and other vendors and ours, we started changing that after the last contract, actually. And also, there's a 6-month wrap-up that's always in there, but it's on a case-by-case basis, and I'll just be quite honest. For example, with Liberty County, we waived the 6-month wrap-up, and filter started immediately, so there was no, I do this litigation and sales and you do this. It was just a clean cut, and that's the way the client wanted it, and we thought that was the easiest way to handle it, so that's what we did. And so anytime that occurs, we always discuss it with the incoming firm, and if we take over account, we expect the same back. You know, they discuss that with us of what's the best way to handle it. But the 30-day termination, it was requested a lot by numerous clients, cities, counties, and schools.
Okay.
And it just kind of makes it easier for people to vote to know if we don't like you, we can get rid of you. So, and there doesn't have to be a reason stated. And then there doesn't have to be a 60-day cure for the reason stated. So there's no explanation needed. So, and it's worked quite well, and I think, as a board, I think that's something that y'all prefer to.
Do you have multiple copies, or do we need to make copies of these?
Actually, I have 2 originals that Mr. Sutton. That was just my copy from Michael. I have 2 that are signed by Mr. Sutton. Here you go. Take this for you if you don't mind. And I will tell you the duration was March 1st, 2013, expiring on February 28, 2014. And there we go. Just checking that, making sure everything's there that you need. And like I said, also the arbitration clause, that's taken out because it's a 30-day termination, no reason stated. So I think I've heard somebody say you can fire me for the color of my hair because if you don't like it. I mean, that's how basic and broad it is. So there's no reason for a cure because we don't have to have a reason to be terminated. And I would like to say we have been with Cleveland ISD for 11.5 years. We have thoroughly enjoyed working with this board, and we would love to continue representing Cleveland ISD. We feel part of this community. We care what happens out here. We care what happens with your taxpayers, your students, your administration. You know, this is something that we are very wholeheartedly committed to, that we think is a client.
Are you going to continue being here in this area?
Yeah, what it is,
I've been told
you were told I was
you're
fired.
getting booted.
I know, and yet I'm still collecting a paycheck. What occurred, and I'm kind of excited, as soon as this happened, I contacted Superintendent Coward and Betty Gross. I did get what I call a promotion myself, and it was very nice. I've been with the firm for 10 years. And one of the things I love doing on behalf of the firm is client retention and client acquisition marketing. As you can tell, I'm a talker. I love to go out and meet people and tell them about Linebarger and make some friends and try to gain new clients. That's what I love doing, and that's what I've been working toward for the last 4 to 5 years. Well, I had an opportunity now to do that. And I get to go out and meet all these people and work with marketing as local counsel. Therefore, I am local counsel now. I still work with Barry, Chip, and Derek, because I'm here tonight. But it gives me an opportunity personally for something I can do with my family. And that's very important. But I still get a paycheck, so I'm not fired.
Okay.
So, if so, I don't know it yet, because my boss is sitting right behind me.
Well,
Any questions
one
about?
thing about our boss up here, he can't fire us.
There you go. There you go. But no, I consider it something I've been working towards a goal, and now I get to do that, and I'm very excited to do that on behalf of Linebarger. And I still get to come out and see people. I get to live the best of both worlds.
Yes, sir.
It's a change, but I can.
Any other questions about the contract? If not, do I have a motion, please?
Okay, we're gonna act on not taking any action here, or we're gonna act on voting on a new contract. The way this reads, and excuse me if I'm
You are
misinterpreting.
correct.
Yeah, discussion possible action regarding this, blah, 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 I can't even talk. If we take no action at all, then, this existing contract stays in effect,
True.
Correct.
okay?
Correct.
Then do we still have time to go over this new contract and vote on it at the next?
Sure.
Our next meeting is March 18th. We can put the new contract on that agenda. We can vote tonight to terminate the contract that we currently have with you.
Okay.
Is that the steps the board wishes to follow?
Well, do we have to
Or
terminate?
take no action,
Or
right?
take
You can take
no
no
action?
action.
That's
And
what I
in
was
the new
saying.
contract, you don't have to terminate the old one.
Okay.
So that was, yes, you don't have to terminate the old one and renew. It's all this is, it's kind of like an amended contract. So if you, it's the exact same reading except for the points I pointed out to you. So it's kind of like an amended contract. And the way the agenda item reads, you can take action tonight, because nothing else changes except for the points I was relayed to that the board was wanting to see. And it makes perfect sense, and that's the way a lot of contracts are written now around the state. So termination's not needed, it's kind of like an update. This will take effect March 1st, therefore the old one automatically ceases and terminates on that day. So no action needed.
Right,
at
that's
a-
what
at
I
a
was
multiple
thinking. We
process,
don't have
right.
to
It
take
can,
any
no
action at
action
all.
can take, existing contracts is in place for, voting with the new terms of the 30-day termination, no automatic renewal can be taken tonight.
Okay. Then we're done with art.
Are you, well,
I'm done talking about it.
can we take action on this new tonight?
Yes, sir.
Why can't we just do that?
Yes, sir.
It's
Okay.
the same contract. It's just.
I'm good with that.
Except it's month to month, which everybody knows that's better, really.
Right.
It is, and it eliminates the
Yeah.
terms that the board was not comfortable with.
Right, the
Right.
percent,
So y'all
everything's
go
the
ahead
same
and do the
except for
Yes,
that.
ma'am, it is.
So move. I move that we
Well,
accept
hold
the
on,
new
because I have to
contract
take
with
notes. I don't know
Linebarger.
what's going on. Hold on.
Okay, I have a motion from Ronnie.
Second.
Christie? Any questions? As if we haven't beaten this horse to death.
Oh, my God.
No, but I would like to say something.
Sure.
Yes.
with all three coming in, there was a lot of things cleared up, which I think needed to happen.
I
So
agree, totally agree.
that was real important to me that we hear.
I totally agree.
So-
And I was glad to see some connections of dots, out there, and I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Right.
Because I'm not privy to some of the stuff between third-party contracts and title companies and banks. We don't see that. So, and for them to be that open and charismatic and say, okay, hey, ask us questions, it was,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen every day like that, I will
Right.
admit that. But what it did occur and what they're willing to do to work with everybody to succeed at what they're doing, that also makes a difference to the community. Because those beds are needed.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was very neat outside. It was kind of like, a kumbaya moment.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? Motion passes.
I greatly appreciate it, and again, the team I work with Linebarger, unmistakably the best. And I want to introduce you to Derek Mendoza. I think he's the one face that y'all have not met yet. Mrs. Gross has, of course, met him. He's the one that's taking over some of the litigation with me, because I won't be going to court every time anymore. I get to go meet people and do my marketing and my promotion and then spend
Go
some time
to
with
your
my family.
playhouse and do your little
My
play.
playhouse, exactly. So Mr. Mendoza is also going to be working, and as this. So he'll be out here, and he'll be coming to meet with y'all, and there's Rose. Of course, Betty knows how to find me anywhere in the world. I'm always available, and I'm still a Linebarger. So. And I appreciate it greatly. Y'all have a wonderful evening. And if you don't mind, we can excuse ourselves. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on one of the originals, Miss Stacy, you just mailed me one of the
Okay,
originals.
certainly will. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gravis. I will come out and see you again soon. Thank you. Ms. Gravis, can you need any more?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Ms. Gross. Next item on the agenda is open forum.
No one has signed up for open forum.
Next item is reports. Mr. Cowart.
Thank you. Ms. Cash, are you ready for East Side and with Ms. Giles to make your No Excuses University report?
Yes, sir.
Please step forward.
Good evening. While she's moving towards the PowerPoint presentation, I'm Ms. Cash, interim principal at Eastside. That's Mary Giles, interim assistant principal. And while she's getting set up, you will notice, because it's not in the PowerPoint presentation, that each one of you have received a packet of writing samples that our 5th graders and 6th graders completed through language arts classes. It was assignment in which their writing prompt was what their plans were for college were and why that was beneficial and important in their future endeavors. The kids really got into that. They brought them to our offices for us to read. So we decided that, the kids enjoyed it, that we thought that you might like to read through some of those. Something else that's happened as a result of not only that, but some things we're going to present in a minute. The kids, well now, even myself included, was in the cafeteria the other day, and a couple of students, Miss Cash, we have a question. I said, what's your question? Where did you go to college? Where did you start? And what was your college path? So they've gotten to the point now where they will openly discuss those types of things, not only with their teachers, but myself as well, which is a sign of encouragement, because that gives us an opportunity to have open dialogue with them about what our college experiences were and what they can expect when they get to that crossroad in their life. We too, like the remainder of the campus administrators and teachers at Eastside, attended the No Excuses University training with Damon Lopez throughout the summer and in the early months of August, September, with some professional development trainings and follow-ups. So this is our implementation of the No Excuses University. And basically the first one is just the pride of Eastside. If you notice the middle of the emblem, that blue emblem there is the official No Excuses logo. Wait a minute, you're ahead of me. Back up. I'm sorry. The rest of that around there is, once we introduced our students to No Excuses University, they were asked to illustrate, diagram, explain to us what their interpretation of that was. So those are emblems that were created off the No Excuses University logo and created by students to fit in to the East Side implementation of No Excuses University. Mhm. Go ahead. Uh-oh. The next slide that you have, and I can go on because I know where she's going. In order to develop, not only develop, but to create and maintain a college-going atmosphere and environment at Eastside, we do a College of the Month. Every month that's displayed as you walk into our building, there's a small glass case on the right side of our entry hall, and that is the display case that we use to display our College of the Month, and we change it out every month. Month before last was University of Houston, and this month for February was Sam Houston. And basically we collect and display information from those colleges in the College of the Month display case. One of the modules of No Excuses University is the culture of universal achievement. The big board here to the left is a representation of where our staff members went to college. The little small flags there, I know it's hard to see, but the little small white triangular flags have the staff names and the colleges that we attended. And then the yarn, there's a piece of yarn on each one of those that leads to the location of the United States map of where that college is located. We also have some countries outside of the United States that are represented because several of our bilingual teachers attended college outside of the United States. And we wanted to let our students know that they can venture out of the United States and still be able to attend college. Down at the bottom is our current staff that not only graduated from Cleveland ISD and now are employed on our district as teachers and interim APs. And the other thing we got to laughing at a little bit today, I called them the Four Musketeers because they not only graduated from Cleveland ISD, they also all four went to Sam Houston University. So we had a little bit of fun with that today as I went around the building and gave them a hard time. Pride of Eastside Wall is something that we're creating because I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to be honest, we are in the very early stages because we picked it up when I took over in December, late, mid-January. We picked it up, but we are in the process of creating a Pride of Eastside Wall. The bottom bulletin board said which road will you travel, and away at the far left end says South Side, and it goes all the way through high school up to the various universities. But on our wall, we're going to display student council. We recently implemented student council, so they will be displayed on our Pride of Eastside wall. Not just our Eastside graduates, but our Cleveland ISD graduates. Our honor roll for our students, A/B honor roll, and B honor roll, and our perfect attendance for our students will be displayed on the main wall as you come in through the front door down that far side hall right there. And then our teacher shout-outs. Ms. Giles and I decided that we need to start recognizing some teachers, so there will be positive accomplishments and other things about our teachers on that Pride of Eastside wall. All right. Student council we did develop because we wanted to implement student leadership, and we also wanted to bridge the connection to carry on because there is one established at lower campuses. We want to be able to continue that student leadership and to bridge that connection between the campuses. They are newly formed. They just recently had their first meeting. They already have great plans in place for projects and community outreach projects, and they were very excited. We had 4 teachers that graciously volunteered to take that on. So we have 2 5th grade sponsors and we have 2 6th grade sponsors. The students were nominated and voted in by their fellow peers. This is actually an interactive board. It says the 6 pillars of character. It is an interactive board, but something else we do with this. This is implemented on Wednesday mornings, every morning, for 5 to 10 minutes. Every teacher in the classroom does a Wednesday morning meeting. That's also the day our staff and our students wear their college t-shirts. Basically what happens, well, not basically, what happens in the Wednesday meeting mornings is they take one of the 6 pillars of character, and we just go down the line. I'm going to be on the 5th one this Wednesday. Or actually, I'm going to skip this Wednesday because we had benchmarks going on. But we've turned this board in now into interactive, and it's hard to see up there. But those little numbered blocks up there are actually quotes from famous people, Martin Luther King, other famous people that the students are familiar with, and they are being asked to match the quote to the appropriate pillar of character. And they've been instructed to submit their answers to the office by March the 1st. We'll take a winner, and they'll be presented a Sonic gift card. They're already challenged me with that too, because when I announced it the other day, I said the competition's on because I'm going to win, and I'm not even going to participate. But I can't tell you how many kids came and said, Miss Cash, we're going to beat you. You can't beat us at that project. So this is something else they're looking forward to. And that was just to get some student involvement and some interactive participation. Okay. Also, on Culture of Universal Achievement, we have in the plans in May, after STAR testing is over, of holding a college week to where we'll set up stations with area colleges and universities. We're going to invite representatives from our local area colleges to come out and set up booths to where our students then can rotate through and talk to the representatives from those colleges and gather information that those colleges may have to offer them. And that's in the works. That's not in place yet, but it is in the works. Okay. The collaboration piece, which is also another module of No Excuses University, is 5th and 6th grade vertical and horizontal meetings, and that is a vertical meeting there that some of our teachers are involved in. We also have core subject team meetings and academic intervention team meetings. And academic intervention is a classroom that our students attend who were not successful on previous state assessments, and it's a smaller group. And teachers work with them on the specific skills that they have not mastered, mainly through computer-based programs. Standards alignment is also another module of No Excuses University. C-Scope, as you know, is our driving curriculum, but it's a text-based curriculum. They use test documents to teach being tested, and they do teach not being mastered or being remediated through the academic intervention classes. And we also do tutorials, and I jumped ahead a little bit. We also do assessment documentation form. And I'll explain a little bit more about that form in just a minute. All right. The assessment piece is also another module of No Excuses University. We do a 9-week test, and we do benchmark test. The 9-week test is pulled from C-Scope, and I do also allow the teachers to use the release STAR test to create 9-week tests, and they are comprehensive. Data analysis is the next piece of No Excuses University. The screen on the left is the Eduphoria that our teachers have access to. They use Eduphoria to gain all kind of information about our students. Testing, benchmarks, past testing. The form on the right is something that we've implemented, and I've met with my staff on it. In fact, they worked on it today in some of the staff development. That's real hard to see, but what that is an assessment form. And we've asked I've asked my teachers to create a form on each one of our students, regardless of what their academic level and ability is. And it covers, Ms. Giles, I can't see it from back here, but it covers benchmarks, it covers STAR, it covers 9 weeks, report card grades. So there's a lot of data there that we are asking them to gather. And when they complete those, I've asked my 5th grade teachers to have them completed by March the 1st. We will be having teacher talks with them to where they'll be sitting down and telling me exactly, okay, this is what you showed me, where we are with this kid, what is our next step with this individual to increase the chances of them being successful on the STAR test. So each teacher will do that for every student, regardless of academic ability and performance. Interventions is the last piece of the No Excuses module. We are currently doing tutorials before and after school, and we also have some teachers that, I want to stress this very heavily, voluntarily give up a portion of their conference period 1 to 2 days a week to pull kids in for tutorials. We also use Achieve 3000 and Study Island, and those are 2 of the main computer programs that are used in our academic intervention classes. And academic intervention, just to clarify, is RTI. I just changed the synonym of it. So RTI and academic intervention of the same program. And then for our Read Smart is specifically for our ESL and bilingual students. It catches those students only for Read Smart, and that's important for me as an interim principal because that's one of our target areas that we need to work on improving their scores on the state assessment. Questions?
Questions?
And I know y'all have 2 copies. I'm sorry, we did a black and white and we did a smaller version of the colored slides, but the black and white copy and the colored slides are the same thing. Just if you're like me, I have to have the bigger print to be able to see it. Any questions?
I think so. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Cash.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cash.
Enrollment.
Yes, sir. You have some data at your table, which is the enrollment sheets for the last 6 years of school. We have the enrollment from February 15th of 2013, this past Friday. We had enrollment of 3,605 students. This, approximately the same day last year, we had 3,703. And then the same day in 2011, we had 3,786. And the same day of 10, 3,757, 3,753. In 09, we had 3,638. And then in 2008, on this day, we had 3,466. So our enrollment from last year to this year is down approximately 98 students. In the last 2 years, our enrollment has dropped 181 students, but in the last 6 years, we're up 139 students. Our attendance rate for the school year for the district is 95.13%, which is still anything over 95% for the district has been very good for us. There is a salary information report that's in your board packet that's shown. It starts on page 12 and runs through page 15 that the board requested at the last meeting. And this is for the salaries of all the district administrators, principals, assistant principals, assistant superintendents, and then the board requested the salaries of everyone who works in central administration, and those are included for your review. The board also requested that there be some cost estimates provided to you in resurfacing the track, and this is shown on page 16 with the cost estimates. Now, given what the costs are, if the board chooses or instructs me to pursue this, we would have to submit for bids and have a bid opening because these costs do exceed over $25,000. Mr. Lee contacted 3 different companies, and they're shown starting on page 17. There's a wide variety of work that the track companies would do. The least expensive would be a thick overspray that's placed on the current track that we have, and all the way up to stripping off the current surface we have and replacing it with something like this, which is about a ½ inch thick pad that can be black colored or yellow colored. That material is the more expensive options, which run around between $180,000 to $200,000. The least expensive options are around $58,000, which is the spray on. But the board asked to get a feel on what the cost would be to have the track repaired, and these are 3 separate vendors and their cost estimates. This is nothing that we're going to do at this moment because it does require a bid process. We also have a copy of the STAR test results, which were briefly alluded to at our meeting in January. And let me turn to that page, please. This is shown, which is the ELC administration, and we at Cleveland High School. This is broken down by subject with the ELC that was given in December of 12 in algebra, geometry, biology, world geography, English 1 writing, and English 1 reading, and then the courses at Douglas of algebra 1, biology, world geography, English 1 writing, and English 1 reading. We have the number of students that tested and the number of students that met the standards are shown here. For board information, spring break is going to occur from March the 11th through the 15th. This, of course, is before we have our next meeting, which will be on March the 18th, with the Monday we return from spring break. The district does have early release on Friday, March the 8th. It's a 2-hour early release. Our regular board meeting will be, of course, that I just mentioned. It's Monday, not March the 13th. It's March the 18th. Please correct that. It's March the 18th at 6:45 p.m. Of course, meet on the third Monday of the month. We also have the 2013-2014 budget calendar is shown in our book, and this is something that I mentioned at our last meeting. Our board election is May the 11th on second Saturday of the month. The last day to file as a candidate for board election is Friday, March the 1st. That is the last day to file for the election. You do have some other information laying at your table. There is a copy of the approved calendar that the board adopted this past January for the calendar 13-14 school year. So that is your copy to have, and those are being handed out on the campuses now for next year. Some more information that I'd like to share with you. The district did join in last year with about 630 something other school districts in a lawsuit against the state of Texas or Texas Education Agency on the funding for public education. On January the 29th, the district court judge of Travis County that was hearing the court case, Judge Dietz, ruled in favor of the school districts and said that public education funding was not constitutional, nor was it meeting the needs of the students. So the school districts, quote, won, and that's whatever that is, and the state lost. There will be an appeal going to the state Supreme Court, which will be filed very soon, with the state Supreme Court hearing the appeal of the case sometime in late fall or early spring of next year, with hopefully a ruling by this time next year on the constitutionality of school funding. The legislature is in session right now, and when it comes to discussing school funding, the legislator's answer is, we're waiting until the courts decide on school funding. And they're not going to put any additional money into school funding for this next 2 years. And the cuts that happened at this time in 2011 will not be restored. The money will still be kept from the school districts. And so the money we have now will be the money we're going to have for the next 2 years, is to sum it all up. Looking in your board packet at the tax collection, which we spent some time tonight discussing tax collections and so forth. This is on page 24. The current collected for the month of January of this school year, we have $3,349,801.90. You can see the collection is down from this time last year, which was $4,354,038.13. Our current collected for the year is $5,786,758.03. Last year this time we had a little over $6,039,064.04. And our percent collected year-to-date, we're at 59.43%. This time last year, we were significantly higher on current collections at 64.64%. And our total collected year-to-date of delinquent and current collections, we're at $6,282,646.80, which is a little down from this time last year, which was $6,822,852.32. And this is a tax collection report for the month of January. You can see in your board packet on the next page is the Cleveland High School activity report with the checks totaling a little over $12,000 for the activity. There's also, continued on the next page, that was the expenditure totals, and this was the deposit totals on the next page for the high school. And then on the following page is the breakdown of the high school activity fund account shown here. And if you turn over to, that runs through several pages, and then the next report is the middle school deposit and the checks for January. And you can see the monies that were deposited and the money that were expended. And on the next page, there is the check detail for the middle school activity account. The budget status for the district. Let me get to that page. Is we had an appropriated budget of $25,499,095 even. We had expenditures so far of this year of $7,076,313.25. And we have a balance remaining in this year's budget of $19,424,856.30. The budget schedule is shown on page 52 that I mentioned earlier. And January 28th, we started the budget process with the materials passed out to the principals. March the 22nd, the 13-14 budget is due from the principals. Ms. Gross's department will start working at that time with finalizing a rough draft, and we will have something in April with a budget review. We will have a budget workshop in July, which the board will have their first chance to see the budget, and hopefully we'll have a budget adoption in August the 19th board meeting. And that's the budget calendar that we have. This is all of my reports that I have for the board at this time. If there are any questions or comments.
Any questions on any of the reports? Okay. If not, then we'll move to the next item, which is bills and payroll.
Yes, sir. On the next page after the budget schedule is the starts the bills and payrolls for the month of January. And this runs through several pages, and we spent $1,915,659.09 for the month of January.
We have a motion concerning bills and payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Sky? Second from Ronnie. Any questions? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. We can discuss it. Next item on the agenda is budget amendment number 3. Mr. Coward.
Thank you. If you look in your budget and your board packet on page 68, this is a copy of the budget amendment number 3. We have revenues that have come into the district that is all federally funded in the amount of $36,206. We have expenditures. The very first one is for $130,445. This is an increase of the budget in that amount. We have an expenditure of $506,000, which is a payment to the special education co-op, which we now have rejoined. And this is basically our fees based on the number of students that we have in special ed that are being serviced through the co-op that we owe for this current year that we're in. And all the school districts, the 7 other school districts that are a member of the co-op are paying this fee based on the number of special ed students they have. This is Splendora and Cleveland are the largest participants in the special ed co-op, and we have the largest number of special ed students. You can see that most of the expenditures are in Title I funds. If you turn over to the second page, you can see that we have Title II Part A is 255 expenditures. Below that we have 263, which is Title III LEP, and then on the last page we have the total budget amendment of $166,651.
Have a motion concerning the budget amendment.
So moved.
Have a second, please.
A second.
Second from Sky. Any questions?
What is our number of special education students?
As of last Thursday, 252. Of course, the
So
number.
these are based on a 252 student.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is that a year-to-date?
Well, the number of
How
special
is
ed,
it?
the number of special ed students that are served, of course, vary from literally from day to day, but it is a target number that we use based on the snapshot, which was the snapshot date, which is the last Friday of October.
Okay.
Okay, that,
And then the dollar amount that we're paying, is that for this school year?
yes, sir.
To February?
Yeah, well, it's for this
January?
whole school year. that
Okay,
we're- that
so
we're
it's the
paying.
full amount?
It's the full amount that we're paying, yes.
Okay. So we're paid up?
We're
for-
paid up.
For this school year?
For this school year, for our cost to the co-op to be a part of the co-op,
Okay.
yes.
Any other questions?
Mr. Cowart, we've joined the co-op in an effort to save money. Yeah, right?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
what we did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And this is a
It is.
significant saving, yes, ma'am, from doing it ourselves.
Okay. Wow.
And just to give a little more history, we were previously a member of the co-op.
Yeah.
We left the co-op because we weren't getting
The service.
service that we thought our students required. Now we're rejoining the co-op because the service has improved and it's a more efficient cost to do it as a
So
co-op.
we're not paying for like all their medical and evaluation, it's all being paid through this co-op?
Yes, ma'am, it's all shared, it's a shared cost. And it's made up of the students from Devers, Holiday Zeta, Hardin, Liberty, Cleveland, Tarkenton, Splendora.
And we're still paying, but we're sharing the cost in that we have a diagnostician that's doing it for all of the districts rather than us paying the diagnostician for all of our
Yes.
students.
And that includes all their transportation everywhere we need to take them?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
What does travel school choice mean?
What's the number?
It's on page 68 and it's 211. I mean, it's just one of the budget codes. And it's
211.
saying travel-school choice.
Ms. Jinkle, I'll have to look and see. I don't know what it is offhand.
Is this just like, did they go through and reevaluate all of these? Like, kind of a mid-year type thing, or salaries apparently? Because there's quite a bit of budget, I was just asking. A lot of things have changed.
When we receive more monies from the government, as the federal government, that we can spend in title funds, and we increase the budget, We move the money around if we haven't spent it the way we should spend it, either on personnel or on instructional materials, and we move the money around so we can spend it.
211 is Title I, right? 211 is Title I.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Jinkle, I'll have to look that up and get back with you on what that is exactly.
What's the salaries parent liaison?
I don't know what she said, community service.
If the salaries for the parent liaison, that's under Title I too, but is that community side?
Parent liaison,
But there's 5,
It's different schools.
and that's, so each one for each school, I mean, each campus.
Last 5.
Okay, I see it now.
Top of 69.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that like
There's one for each campus, and there's a little bit of money that's been put in that pays the total salary for the person involved in that.
Is that a teacher, or is that
Yeah,
a?
what is that? A parent liaison.
Who is in that, I guess who is acting in that role? Who does that?
I'm gonna have to find out and get back with you and let you know, because I don't know offhand.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions, but is this approved if there are questions?
It's up to us if we want to
Okay.
approve as is or table
like to know
until we get
what it is.
answers. And
I would-
that's-
Well, I
that's
would
our
like to
pleasure.
know what it is before I approve any, I just want to know. I mean, that's it.
Am I understanding that we got additional funds and,
Yes, that's 36,000.
Yes.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is
The-
how
the
they've
total
been.
additional funds is the 166,651.
But the budget increased by 130,000.
Yeah, the revenue, the total amount of revenue we received was $36,206.
Right.
The amount of expenditures that we are increasing, we have a total budget amendment of $166,651. So we're increasing our federal budget by that amount in the movement of these monies. In those two areas that you've mentioned, I'm going to get that information and report that back to the board at the next meeting. I don't have that at this time.
So I'm seeing this as an increase by 130,000.
Yes, ma'am.
When the monies are allocated, it's some of the way it has to be spent is just the way it is.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not
The
really-
the money comes with a great deal of direction and strings on how it can be spent. And many things are not allowable, or some things are.
Is this part of the monies that bought the iPads for high school?
There hasn't been any money spent on the iPads as of this time.
Okay.
But title funding is being looked at to pay for that. But it's not here in this particular, shown here in this cost.
Okay.
Okay, so what's your pleasure? Do you want to?
Don't we have a
Table.
motion in a second?
We have a motion and a second, so.
We got to vote on
We
it.
got to vote there. Unless the maker of the motion wants to amend the motion.
No. I don't.
All right.
If it fails, then we can make
Then
another
we
motion.
Make another one, that's right. All right, all those in favor? Uplifted right hand.
I would like to know where
Okay.
the money's going.
All
I mean,
those
I don't think
opposed? Uplifted right hand, same sign. All right, so motion fails.
Is that 2 to 3?
2 to 3.
Okay.
So do we need to take any other action, or
Yes.
do you by default?
No.
Do we need to tell you explicitly to put this on the agenda?
No,
for the next meeting?
it'll be on the agenda next meeting with the explanation that will explain the board's concerns that I've been given.
Okay.
Okay, so this will automatically be on the agenda next month.
You have something else, Ryan?
No, I was just gonna say, we just, but that's fine. We'll do it this way, be simpler.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the minutes of the regular meeting of January 14th. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A motion from Ronnie,
I'll second it.
second from Kelly. Any questions or corrections? If not, all those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next item is vacancy on the Board of Directors for the San Jacinto County Central Appraisal District. Mr. Coward?
Yes, sir. If you look, please, in your board packet on page 75, as for the board's information, about 28% of the Cleveland ISD is in San Jacinto County, so we do have a voting privilege on the Appraisal District Board of San Jacinto County, as we have with Liberty County. And there is a vacancy has arisen due to the resignation of James A. Moody as a director, and the Cleveland ISD Board, by resolution, it's shown on page 76. You can nominate someone to serve. We were contacted and asked to consider a gentleman by the name of Kevin Lilly, who's a resident of San Jacinto County, for the board to consider. And that is the only person that we've had any contact with or asked us to consider someone. But this is entirely up for the board's discretion.
Who was this person recommended by, do you know? Was it some official over there, or just?
No, sir, it wasn't official. It was a constituent.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer to that.
No, it wasn't anyone official recommending Kevin Lilly. It was a constituent. They said that they had spoken with Mr. Lilly and he was wanting to serve. I've not spoken with Mr. Lilly directly about his service on this board.
Well, if he wants to do it, vote we let him.
All right.
I
So
move
do I have a motion?
to nominate him.
A motion from Ronnie,
Second.
second from Christie. Kevin Lilly,
Yes, sir.
L-I-L-L-E-Y.
Yes, sir.
Almost.
All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Results of the 2012 Star Administration Brigades 3 through 8.
Yes, sir. If you look in your board packet, please, there is a chart that shows on page 77 the 2012 summary of the STAR testing, which was given in grades 3 through 8. And this is grades 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is for reading, mathematics, writing, and then also there is Spanish given in grades 4 and 5 on reading, mathematics, and science. In grades 6, 7, and 8, we have the subjects that are shown here. You can see the passing rate for Cleveland ISD by grade and by subject, and then the state passing rate that they've acknowledged that the state has said is the standard of a passing rate. And you can see that there is in one area, the district is very close to the state standards, which is in grades 5 mathematics. We were at 74%, and the state was at 77%. In mathematics, in 5th grade math Spanish, we were at 93%, and the state average was 49%. In all other areas that are shown in reading, mathematics, writing, science, and social studies, the district did not meet the state standard based on the testing that was done in last April of 2012. Now, we have another STAR test administration that will occur the last week of April of this year. And with the results being more timely in coming, they will be released on August the 8th of this year for the testing we do this year. These results have just come to us since the January meeting, and we did these testing in April of last year.
So this state passing rate is an arbitrary number?
Yes,
It's
sir.
not the average?
No, sir.
Okay.
This was a rate that the state chose through their calculations.
Do we have any information on what the averages are for districts within the state? For comparison?
We've seen the scores of neighboring districts and surrounding districts. I would say we're below where other districts are at, not appreciably below, but we didn't score as well as some of the other districts. But we've done better than some. So, but we still, I feel like we're below some of the neighboring districts on the scores.
Any other questions about the STAR results? So this data will be used to put together plans to improve
Yes,
the
sir.
scores?
It has been.
As part of the data?
Yes. The campuses have all of the data by child, by grade, showing their areas of strengths and weaknesses. And they have mentioned in all their plans, and Ms. Cash did tonight, and the other principals have mentioned when they've done their presentations of the remedial and tutorial work that they're doing, and they have all this information in the data.
Okay. Any other questions?
It'd be interesting to hear what the teachers have to say about this test. You know, I sometimes feel the percentages are high, you know, and yet we cut back on everything else and we're expecting so much more.
The expected percentage
Yes.
is how you're saying?
I mean, we're drastically lower than what they expect us to be.
And historically, you know, when the state changes testing, districts drop
Decline.
down and then have to work their way back up because the whole format has changed, right? You've got to learn how to take the test, educate kids about how to take the test.
This test based on tax test, is there a huge difference?
Yes.
Yeah,
More difficult?
yes.
Yes.
More difficult, more rigorous, ask questions differently. So you've got to teach the kids how to read and comprehend the questions. Any other questions? Next item on the agenda is the proposed CKE local policy. Mr. Coward?
Thank you. If you look in your board packet on page 78 and 79, this is the CKE local policy that the board directed me at the January meeting to include in this packet for possible consideration and approval. This would be a first reading if the board does approve it, and it would come back to the board again in March if it is approved tonight. On page 79 is the change to the policy. This is specifically allows a peace officer who works for this Cleveland ISD Police Department on number 11 to carry weapons, including electrical control devices, as directed by the Chief of Police. So in other words, this is given the police department the authority to carry tasers.
But not unless we approve them purchasing tasers.
Really
Is that correct or not correct?
is.
Money has to be designated to purchase anything. Yes, sir.
But would that actually come to us for approval, or would that then become an administrative, because of the amount?
The cost of the tasers is, if I remember right, roughly about $4,000. And given that amount, this isn't something that's going to come to the board for any type of approval. If the board is going to approve the policy, then by sequence, if you approve the policy, then you're approving the purchase of the item, and then that would be done. Okay.
Just to refresh the board's memory, legal is recommending that we not approve this policy. So,
Well, I don't know what can be discussed here, but we have no police chief. So,
well, we can take no action. If we don't get a motion to proceed, then we basically
but then it
don't
won't
take
come
any
back
action.
before us.
It will if we want to add it to the agenda later, yes. That's always an
I
option.
say go ahead and do it.
We
Make
have no,
the- Go ahead and,
we have no police chief. I mean, you know, that.
Well, it's setting policy regardless of personnel. It's
Well,
really,
I understand that, but I don't know. I don't know what I can say.
well, I guess if you don't feel comfortable, then it can be tabled until the other things are addressed. Is that right, Chris?
yeah, we can either table or take no action.
Until the next board meeting?
Right.
Do you feel comfortable doing that?
I say take no action,
No, you just take no action. Is that what you're more comfortable with? until
but
we
put
come
it on
back?
next,
Right.
next,
Yeah.
next board meeting. I say we discuss it next board meeting.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion from Kelly to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
From
Christie.
Christie?
So we're taking.
All right, board will call a brief recess at 9:10 PM. Go into executive session.
Did we vote on that?
No, we didn't vote on that last motion, Chris, the
You're
table.
right, you're right.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself. All in favor of tabling? All in
Oh.
favor of tabling the motion?
Your motion, you
yes.
gonna vote for it?
I couldn't understand what you were talking about.
Tabling passes 5-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we'll go into recess.
Okay.
9:10.
How do I do that on here? Can I just write board took action to table and then here put